Has anybody found themselves yet?
As soon as I find that silence, it finds reasons just to get back in there. And, I was alright this morning, but this afternoon was a bit more of a mental challenge. It's kind of, you're asking that question more and more, and it feels like you're poking a dragon. It's weird. Mm-hmm. Like, there's something in there that's resisting the question. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to take a bit more look at it. Just pick it all.
Here's another question then. Do you ever, or should I say, where do you experience the world?
In your mind.
Really?
It seems like it's out there, but everything gets processed by the mind. You know, it's like...
And where do you experience the mind?
Somewhere in the middle of your head, like in there somewhere. That's what it seems like, but there's no real location to it. You know, it's...
And that middle part of your head, where is that located inside of?
The brain.
Where's the brain located inside of?
Atoms and space and so on. So there's not really any location to it. I get that, but like at the same time, how do you...
You're intellectualizing, so if you go to your direct experience right now, can you find where that point is of looking?
It's unidentifiable. Like, it's confusing.
Is it confusing because you're thinking about it?
It's confusing because I can't stop thinking about it. And, you know, I listen to all of these, I listen to you, I listen to all these gurus and sages, and they all, you know, speak from that place, you know, who's looking, all this kind of stuff, but then nothing really clicks. Like it just there's like a block. I don't know what that is. I don't know.
Is there something that's trying to avoid looking?
The thing that, like the mind, yeah, the ego, I guess, it's trying to avoid looking. But at the same time, like how, if the ego is the one that kind of makes all of your decisions and all this kind of stuff, how do you look behind the thing if that's in control of everything? Like, what process, you know, like, is there to get this thing to go quiet so you can see from that higher, deeper perspective if this is the one that judges, being the key word, the one that's like in the way and in control of everything. It feels like, you know, it's almost like you're trying to break out of a prison cell without the key, you know.
Is there something there that's witnessing the thought process? You say that the ego's in control, trying to think about. Is there something that's witnessing that thought process?
Mm-hmm.
And is that a thought?
No. And you know, the chatter's there. There's something that's aware of it. But
so if you go to the experience of being aware right now, rather than of chattering.
so it's just simple as like just
your experience?
Yeah. Well, my mind tries to tell me that there's an experience there, and then it chips back and it goes, "What you just experience is my doing," but it's not. No, like, okay. So when you point, how is it that you can point it out, and then it was very nice without it being there. All right, like just looking from the deeper state of mind, if you will. I'm trying to intellectualize that again. I know there's a witness to that as well, but it's almost like if it goes silent, I experience it, comes back in, I slip back into the mind, and then backwards and forwards all the time, which is kind of like, as I was mentioning earlier, the mental battle in a way. But what's battling with what? Because I understand that silent part of me is not the one that's battling, it's my ego that's clutching on there, and
Can a thought be aware of itself?
No, I don't think so.
Can you double check through your experience directly?
Because the thing that's aware of the thought is the one that's quiet and it doesn't really change, it's just, oh yeah. How could a thought be aware of itself? Oh man.
I keep it simple. First, what happens? You've got ears, haven't you? So the sound first. That goes into the ear. And first I've got to be aware, acutely aware of hearing. It's very important. And then you hear. I like to hear well. I mean, trying to pick out different sounds in the environment. Anyway, you hear the sound, then the message, but then takes a while for the mind to understand. And we've got various speeds. You've got a very quick mind. I've got a much slower frequency. But eventually it's when this chatter comes, and I've been practicing recently, when it gets too busy, to sit quietly, and I experimented it because it gets really busy up here, like you say, in the head, and the voice
Like
is
a fog.
there, to bring it down.
You get lost in the fog.
No, I don't mean the location. I'm talking about location. Can you bring your thoughts, right, when it's up there, and to make it quiet, you can bring it down, what about to your throat? As a mentally visualizing that this thought or this chatter is going down to here. And if you sit there and you imagine it, eventually it goes down from up there to there. And then, if it's up there, I'm not saying I'm successful to here, but if you can bring it down.
And where does the imagination go?
Yeah, once the imagination, you mean where it's going?
So you're using imagination to bring the thought down into the
a visualization.
Visualization.
Because it's hammering up there, but I don't want it up there because we want to make it more quiet. So it goes down and it loses a bit of intensity, that thing.
Yeah.
And then it goes to here.
So who's aware of the visualization?
That's me. I mean, I call it... I haven't really got a name. It's what observes my chatter.
He's also observing the visualization.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
So instead of, could we say then, instead of using the visualization to bring a thought down through visualization, that we could just observe the visualization and the thought?
Yeah, you can observe how it goes down because it feels different. It's got a different sensation. I mean, you're talking about experience, and experience is a sensation. You feel it. I don't know. Sorry, I got a bit lost. Does anybody else want to carry on with this?
I mean, that's cool if that technique works.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only experimenting.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
not.
Yeah.
But it's. I'm thinking.
But what if there was a way to dissolve the thought without the use of visualization, which is also mind as well, isn't it? It's also a form of thought.
Yeah, it is thought. Then I would have to think, go into the chatter, like your thing, being aware how much chatter there is and it's disturbing and whatever, and then be in the chatter in my head rather than taking you down, and then just relax into it.
or who is witnessing the chatter?
Yeah, but that's the problem. I don't really know. I only see it. The eyes. It's the eyes.
I can see what obviously you're going into your mind to try and think about it. So if you instead come into your direct experience from the perception or the place of looking, like the one who's aware of your experience right now, when you have an imagination or a thought, is that awareness imagination, or is it a witness of the imagination? Is it a witness of the thought?
I think it's the witness. It's an independent entity that can actually stand back from the visualization. But I don't know where the idea comes from. The idea comes of having this visualization. I don't know what brings that up, the trigger for that.
Is that a mechanism of dealing with, so like use the imagination to deal with the thoughts?
What I'm...
Yeah.
But now that I've been here, it's got a different, more possibilities than I had before.
Good. I
was just going to say, I think it's difficult to understand this witness or awareness because the mind can't, because it's not an object, you can't objectify it. So it's like you're trying to imagine almost.
That's the issue.
This difficulty in seeing that you're this non-objective, non-dimensional, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
This witness that isn't a thing.
Yeah.
And the mind really struggles to go back that far, because it's always looking for something, some sort of object, isn't it? So that's why we struggle to realise we're a witness.
Where it
isn't
is.
an object itself. The thing that sees everything, the thing that witnesses everything, isn't itself an object. Is that?
That's one of the struggles. Is like you've just said. Is there is a tendency to want to try and visualize. Okay, but there's something there that's aware of even the visualization when it's taking place, that itself is not visualization, that itself is not a thought.
presence.
Can you almost turn your attention towards that, whatever that is aware of thoughts and imagination?
What, to describe it?
To see it. Not to see it through imagination, but as almost as if you could look directly towards yourself, wherever you're located.
To see yourself like you see me. I mean, from the outside.
What we're speaking of is not physical in nature.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like a field, you mean, like
Well, that's what we have to find out, isn't it?
no, that is a separate observer. I mean, an awareness that is separate from, that observes me, observes my thoughts.
Are you speaking of, sometimes people confuse what you may call awareness. I like to call it silent awareness, because some people mistake the awareness for the thinker.
Yeah, how can you identify if it's the awareness or the thinker?
Mm-hmm. Because
I've only got one.
So the awareness won't be, it's not a thought. It's just a pure, we can say it's like a pure seeing. Just pure awareness, silent.
It can only happen in the now.
It can only be here, yeah. Now, yeah. It's like, even us having a conversation now, as I'm speaking, maybe your mind's interpreting what I'm saying, but there's an awareness there, silent awareness, that's even aware of my words as well as your interpretation at the same time. Can you go to the experience of that awareness right now? And tell me what you find there, or what your experience is.
I feel relaxed and funny.
I feel like the I in me just, after what you said, just gave up. It's that simple. I mean, to carry on.
So we have to check time, and the key is to check time and time again, because otherwise what's going to happen is, even if you have a glimpse of that, the mind then comes in and remembers that, and then where people get stuck sometimes is then the mind keeps throwing back up that memory, rather than checking freshly in this moment. The more you continue to check freshly in this moment, the more continuity, so to speak, it creates consistency of it.
Is it normal to have, like, once you see that, it feels like
you're expanding?
Yeah, like I just want to laugh, and like I'm trying to hold it all in and stuff. It's crazy. Oh, wow. I mean, like,
Is that awareness free? Is it bound by thought?
I don't feel like there's any. I'm gonna have to remember. Right, just follow me on this one. I was in a lot of doubt upstairs previously, and my mind's going, maybe it's all a lot of nonsense, maybe it's all wordplay, and you've just spent years of your life searching for nothing, blah blah blah, and I felt really tired, and I thought, well, no, I'm not having that, and I listened to some Alan Watts, and I'm sat laying looking, and then you come and got me, and I'm coming down here, and then you just challenged me, and all of a sudden, just for a brief second, it was as if you just pointed out the truth and I saw it, and then now it's just like something's just gone, and I can't explain it. There's no.
It's okay, it doesn't need explaining. That's enough, that's sufficient enough.
What did you say, Chris?
I said it doesn't need explaining, that's sufficient enough. Right, next.
I'm kind of a bit.
Let's
I
explore
really
you
want to
now.
ask this question, but when you were talking to Marion then,
Mm-hmm.
when you was trying to point it back to her awareness, and then you said, is it the awareness you're looking from or the thinker?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the
Now,
question.
Is there a thinker? Because when you ask it like that, it makes it sound like there is like an entity that does the thinking. So when I was like, trying to follow the instruction, and you're asking Marion, are you looking from the awareness or the thinker? And then it started making me doubt, like, because I thought, I'm coming from the awareness, just looking.
Well, that's the clue there, isn't it? Something thought that it was coming from the awareness. Awareness doesn't think. Awareness is just aware.
But maybe this a thought popped in, and I, raced and grabbed that. I left the awareness.
Right.
I don't know. So, yeah. If I'm looking, then I'm just looking. It doesn't seem to. It doesn't feel like things get labelled like tree when I'm looking. But, I don't feel that they get labelled. But it's almost like I wanna. You do wanna label it, and I don't know. Otherwise, what you're doing with it, it's kind of like what was it before. Sorry, am I going off track?
No.
Okay. See, anything I want to describe. Now, when you say, okay, from the awareness, and you say, what's your experience? In order to even just to describe, tell you what my experience is, I have to. It seems to be that I have to use that thing called the mind and grab concepts in order to give you a word to say what's going on with this me coming from the awareness.
There's a difference between speaking from memory and speaking from your direct experience in this moment of what you are seeing right now.
Oh, right.
Wonderful. I've got so much space. Sorry. It's been lovely not to have this ego dominating you for a little while. It's such a relief. It's really good rest, couldn't you? So.
Yeah. How do you know that it's not? Like, so you differentiated there between words that come from being in that space of awareness, and words that come from memory. So are those two different? Those two things that you mentioned.
One speaking from past experience,
Yeah.
the other one speaking from right this moment. So we're using words the best to describe or point to what our direct experience is right now, compared to using words from a past memory of an experience.
But even words, at some point you learn what those words meant, what those words pointed to. So even that's a memory, right? So even for me to use language to describe my experience.
Not if it's a pointer. If the words are there if the words are there to describe something in itself, then yes, they're no good. But if they're there as a pointer, the same way that I can use my hand to point to that rock, but I'm not saying that the hand is the rock. And then you look at that rock, then the word has been a useful tool to point you to the rock. That makes sense. So really, when I'm saying look from that place, and then I say what's your experience, I'm just asking somebody to best describe, if possible, or point to what they're experiencing in that moment. That gives me an indication, and also the being who's looking as well. But if no words come, that's alright as well. But your original thing was the difference between the thinker and awareness. You were speaking of that.
Yeah.
What was the thing with that then? Is there such a thing as a thinker?
Yeah, is there such a thing as a thinker?
What's your direct experience show you? If you look into the mind, can you find something that's thinking? And just speak honestly from your experience now, not from what you've read or heard anybody say.
I can't find a thinker.
I didn't see you look then.
Well, I'm kind of...
Did you look when...
There are definitely thoughts happening.
Yeah. And is there something that's is there something that was taking ownership of those thoughts? An identity.
Yeah.
Made of, so that's the thinker.
But isn't that what we sort of day to day regard as me? You know, myself, like, small.
That's what most people see themselves to be, the thinker.
Yeah.
But is that who they really are? That's what we're exploring here. Or is there something that's beyond the thinker? Underneath, so to speak.
Well, there's something noticing the thoughts. But I find it a bit tricky to notice the thinker.
Can you notice the one noticing the thoughts?
just seems invisible, because anything I look at seems to be of form. And so it doesn't seem like I can see it.
So it's not an object.
No.
It's objectless.
I can definitely...
Can you go to the experience of just looking from that place? This objectlessness. Does this objectlessness think? Does it have a size or a shape? Or
No, it doesn't seem to have a shape.
is it noisy or is it silent? Or
It's quiet. Does it produce thoughts? I'm not sure about that. Like if I'm to go into memory by what I've read, then I don't think that's so. That's someone else's words. That it gives aware of thoughts, and thoughts arise in it. But as for direct, me looking now, it's very difficult for me to pinpoint where thoughts come from. Where
So
they
you- so-
originate.
yeah. So you can't find the source of thought.
Yeah.
Apart from this objectlessness.
Can't find the source of thought apart from the objectlessness. When you say apart from, are you saying, so I can't find the source of thought other than the objectlessness?
You said a moment ago that you was there was like an objectlessness that you were aware of, something without form?
Yep.
Yeah. And are thoughts coming from that and back into that?
Well, yeah, it would appear like the objectlessness is the ground, is what's there. And yeah, thoughts come and go. Again, I guess they have to be. I can't know whether they're coming from that groundlessness.
But if you turn your awareness towards that objectlessness, do any thoughts arise as you're doing that, or as that is happening? And no thoughts means what?
No thoughts mean.
And no thoughts means what?
No thoughts. Oh, I see. Alright, okay. Well, there's no struggle.
What's the opposite of struggle?
Relaxation. So it's more relaxed space.
Could we say peace? So when you look to find the source of thought, you find no thought, which would mean no struggle, which would mean peace. Is that right?
Can you just say that again, sorry?
So when you look to find the source of thought, and you find no thoughts there, no thoughts means no struggle, no resistance, and therefore the absence of resistance is peace. Is that right? So if you just continue to look at where the source of thought seems to be appearing from, then what would be the result of that?
The trick is to stay there.
how can you stay where you already are?
It's normal to feel like something's just kind of got like out of you somehow, and then now just like it's just quiet.
In that moment of looking at what it is at the source of thought, it is like a disengagement from it, and so there's an expansiveness that can often arise in that.
There's a disengagement from thought.
The disengagement is from the looking of that which is behind thought.
I can't say I followed that. It's a bit.
It's confusing to the mind.
Disengagement is from the looking of that which is behind thought.
That's looking for the awareness. You're not looking for that.
For most people, there's a kind of funneling of awareness or attention into thinking, because there's an identification that I am the thoughts. Okay? So when that awareness turns away from thought and back towards itself, then thoughts drop. So when you were looking to find the source of thought is the same as saying that. Have you ever wondered where have you ever caught a thought before it's about to arise?
Before it's about to arise.
To see where it rises from. Try now. Look.
Is anyone else feeling sick?
I feel like somebody's just stripped all of the stress and tension out of my head. Blank.
Yeah, I just wanted to just checking I hadn't poisoned.
Oh.
I'm quite sick.
Stomach.
Yeah, well, I say sick.
Sorry. So I'm looking to see if I can catch a thought before it arises. Catch it before it arises.
Or as it arises. To see where it arises from. as you're looking to see where it arises from, is there any thoughts that are arising as you're looking to see where it's rising from?
Well, when I first was doing it, I didn't think. That's why I asked you before. I asked you before, because I thought it was a trick question. If I'm looking for it to arise, then that very looking will not make it arise.
Maybe that's the point.
Yeah. But to answer your question fully, I do think there have been thoughts that come in. So I don't know if that's a process of me being the looker, and then leaving that and.
Yeah. This is very important. Makes massive difference. But you can't get it wrong.